Okay, that should be live now. I'm still testing out some settings. It looks like it's probably a traffic issue for during the day. Because if I streamed later in the night 2 nights ago, and the dropped frames was not too bad, and right now it's not too bad. So I'm not really scheduling these things or announcing them too much because I'm not quite sure when I will go live, as I'm still like testing settings and stuff. And I was having some like hissing and staticky sounds on audio at parts of the last stream, which are very weird because I did a bunch of test recording with all the same microphone settings and I was not getting any of that kind of popping and hissing stuff. So I don't know if that has to do with the network traffic and stuff either, but let me know if the audio sounds too loud or if there's hissing or whatever. I can always adjust it if anybody pops in later, and I'll ask again later too. So what do I want to work on? Maybe first I'll show the guy from last time. I'm also trying some autofocus stuff on this on the camera lens, and it doesn't really want to behave very well. Even when I put my hands behind it, it still wants to focus on that matte down there. Come on. Forget about the matte. There we go. So here's the guy from last time. The only other thing that I did was dry brushed a little bit on the dirt part, and then I also painted these Kingdom Death Monster minis. Come with more than one base. There's like the base and then there's an outer base that it kind of gets glued down into. So I painted that all black. So he needs to be varnished, and then I will put some more exciting stuff on the base, like some grass and whatnot. So today I think I'm going to work on some Stars of Akarios stuff. I'll show you what I did for my Akarios ships. So these are kind of just like they're popsicle sticks, like candy sticks. If you make your own like chocolate candies or whatever. I mean, you don't have to be making them to get these. You can find them at craft stores. They're in craft stores. They have like chocolate molds, and then they have melting chocolate and stuff. Over there, they should have these sticks. Oh, hi, Brian. Good. It's pretty stable right now. It's good to hear that the video and the sound look good. It looks like it's just a traffic issue with my internet service provider, and they're sending a tech out tomorrow. So I put these sticks in the bottom hole of the ships. I've got 2 of the ships out here, and then I got this like styrofoam, and I just poked a hole in a styrofoam, so while stuff is drying, I just put them in the styrofoam like that. So that's how I did most of my Akarios minis. I only have a few left to go, and I bet you that huge white thing is going to play havoc with the focus on the camera. So let's see. Let's look at some reference material for the 2 ships I have on the sticks there. This is from the art book. So those are the 2 ships that I've got ready to go tonight. And I want to work on that top one. I just like the we're going to put dark gray and some blues and some reds together. I think it's going to look pretty nice. Okay, so go down to here probably. And this is going to be starting out just like a slop the first color on, and it looks like the inside color on here first is going to be the red, and then the blue, and then the gray. So do I want to do a red speed paint? I think I'm actually going to do this dark red and then maybe highlight on top of it. Or do I just want to do the speed paint? This is the same speed paint that was on the cape of the guy I worked on last time. Yeah, let's just do that. I don't usually use the autofocuser on the overhead camera when I'm filming stuff, because I hate it when it goes, when it tries to decide what it thinks it should be focusing on. So we'll see. It's all still testing. I might keep it on, turn it off. I'm trying to maximize my efficiency with my setup and not have to switch a bunch of things around from when I'm playing games versus when I want to record. Which is requiring some compromising. Like how far my face is away from the Mini. Because the mount where my camera is, it's not the easiest thing to take off and just move around. I mean, it's obviously it's doable, it's just not something I want to do all the time. With so many games with so many minis coming, so much stuff to paint, probably I'm going to try to stream more. Well, I mean, just streaming these last couple times is more than the none I was streaming before. I started my channel only as streaming though. So all of the oldest stuff on here was all me live streaming playing games. I thought back then I wasn't going to have enough time to like do editing and whatnot. I'm bleeding over onto another part, but I think it's okay because I don't think I'm going to be using a speed paint for the blue and the gray on here. So the regular acrylic paint will cover it up. But then I was playing something, I can't remember what it was. And I got to the very end of the game, and it was like, it was time to count up the points. It was a Euro game, actually. I think it was Brass. I think it was Brass Birmingham. I played that multi-handed against myself on the stream. I think that's what it was, maybe not. But anyway, so right when I got time to, like, you know, see who won, which of the players in the game won, I started having internet issues, and that was kind of like the start of my internet issues a long time ago. And it just cut out, and I didn't even know it cut out. So I just kept counting up the points and thought everything was okay, and then I think it was when I went to end the stream, I was like, oh, wait a minute, it's already ended. What the heck happened? It's like, oh man, how much of this did I lose? And I think somebody even made a comment. They were like asking, well, how did it end up? Hey, Kanjay. Doing an Akarios ship. I did not unlock it, but I was just trying to find something that I already had primed that I could work on tonight while I'm continuing to see how, at this time of night, it seems to be holding up okay for now, which further leads me to believe that it's like an outside of my house traffic at my ISP issue when I try to stream during the day. I shouldn't say during the day, like earlier in the day, I guess. Yeah, I'm good to hear it's holding up for now. I had to really ramp down the bits per second, and it's going at only 30 frames a second right now, but it should be 1080p 30. At least is what it's set at in OBS. I do want to do some more Kingdom Death characters, but I need to build some, because even in my game I'm still using the starting survivors, and I kind of want to preserve those a little more, so I want to stop like handling them so much, because I really like the OSL effect that they ended up with, and I just want to get some new character models out onto the table for that game, because there's a lot of potential. And I have a huge pile of opportunity of Kingdom Death stuff to paint, so I might as well do it. You want to see my blending on those monsters? I've got one right here. for an actual one that I'm going to paint, I have the dragon built, and that will be a lot of blending. That one's going to be probably a marathon weekend because it's huge. All right. Let me see if the camera will pick this guy up. This one was quite a few hours. I worked on blending one wing, then blending the other wing, and then blending the body. Yeah, the Phoenix. And I actually showed this as a reference photo for Mel also. So this flesh here, when she was doing her brood mother, this is a like a light pink flesh color with then the purple Magos contrast over it, and then a little really light dry brush of the same flesh color on top of it, and you get this like nasty nasty cool looking, see if it'll focus, like flesh color. And I use that same technique for like rat tails, or I have used it before. Yep. Yeah, Brian, if you think this is not a mini, you should see the dragon. It's ginormous. It is ginormous. Okay, so that went on super dark and needs to dry a little bit before I do a dry brush on it. And I see a little part that needs some. I have noticed that with like these speed paints and these contrast paints, that after it dries, it's a lot easier to see little spots that you missed. Did I get it all? I did. He says with confidence. It's almost like there's another little red crystal part sticking out in the front. It's been a long time since I've actually done it, but Kanjay used to, and I don't know if you still do, paint on like Saturday mornings, and I joined him a couple of times. You just get going like too early in the day for me, plus we're on opposite coasts. So when you start at 9 o'clock your time, like Saturday, do I want to get up at 6? Maybe. But usually not, since it's Saturday. All right, let's do some dry brushing. Oh, you paint at noon now. That's a little better. That's 9 o'clock my time. This one. There are lots of nice little ridges on this. So it should lend itself very nicely to some dry brushing. And I'm going to run an experiment here, see how it looks on the camera. I'm going to dry brush one side, not the other side, and we'll see if we can tell the difference. With the camera. All right, let's see how that looks. I think it's easier for me to block out most of the view if I go to this one. Or there might not be enough light. Well, you can really see how dark it is here versus it getting lighter. So I don't know if using the autofocus is better or if just trying to zoom in. So here's not dry brushed, super dark all the way around, and then with some edging on there. I'm going to do one more color up from this too. I'll show you the reference picture again just real quick. I probably never would have picked like this color combination, but this picture in the book actually looks pretty cool. So that's the ship. So it's got like red, dark gray, and blue. So that's what I'm going for. Getting that red on there. All right, then I'm going to do the same thing I did on that cape and go with a very light dusting of orange. Did I even get enough on there? It's on there. Just want to hit the tops and the tips on the bottom here. See, so that didn't take too long. Dry brushing, 3 colors. Looks halfway decent. I think that's all the dry brushing, so this... I'm gonna clean this in water. Means it's really gonna have to dry a lot before. And I'm gonna have to use my brush soap on it to get more of the color out. Do I have my brush soap? I don't know where it is. It's gonna show it just as this is what I use to clean my brushes. All right, so we've got some red on there. It's not looking too dark anymore. Well, you can really see the old dark color on that last little tail part, which is fine because that's down in the shadows versus what's happening up on the tips. And down here in the bottom, it's much darker down there in those shadows where that dark red is. So what parts of this are going to be blue? Let's see, dark gray. The art and what ended up on the model are not always exactly the same. I can see parts of what I painted red. There's a little part up there that should be blue, but that's fine that it got dry brushed a little. So most of that is blue, gray. So I'm going to go with blue next because it's right up next to that red mostly. That's a green. That's kind of a bright blue. Here we go. This is a nice dark gray blue to start with. Or, you know what I'm actually thinking about doing now is maybe using this super light blue and then going over it with a speed paint or a contrast color. Nope, I'm gonna go with the darker blue and then I'll pick out some of the other things in a lighter blue. I gotta make some room for my wet palette. My highly sophisticated Tupperware it's not even Tupperware, this is like a to-go thing from a restaurant with paper towel and parchment paper. All right. Where's the line? There's the line. Don't have to be super careful. Yet the gray will be the one that actually establishes the final line between those two parts. But then here up against the red, and then there's a little piece that sticks up here. That in the reference photo was blue. that part all gray in the reference photo. And like I was saying, I think a second ago, is that the final design of the miniatures doesn't always exactly match the final look on the minis. So some places where there's color breaks and whatnot in the art, they might not actually be on the ship. So you gotta take a little bit of artistic license. So I'm gonna go back and get some of the, like, the little panels and stuff with a lighter blue. Because that's so dark, I might use actually a lighter gray too. The reference art does have a lot of, like, light blue in the blue parts though, so I guess that's probably why it looks fine against the dark gray. They're not against the dark gray, but in conjunction with the dark gray. Alongside. Yeah, what about the bottom? You like hardly ever see the bottom of these ships during the game. I really did not pay that much attention to the bottom of most of the other ships, except for parts that you could see. That was the delicate spot right up against the red. And then this is the little point that's actually like metal and not whatever this crystal stuff is. That part and that part. So just blocking in base colors, or a base color. Before we'll go later and do more stuff with it. Try to decide where and how much I want to put light blue on it. Can I get inside there? Gonna have to. I can hear that thing like constantly trying to change its focus. Kanji, if you're still there, have you opened up your Pro Acryl colors yet? Probably not, since you haven't been feeling well, but I was just wondering. So it even has like this as metal, like the blue and the gray, but then a crystal up front. So we're going to do that so we break up some of the colors. All right. Now I do not want there to be that much gray. So we need to find some more parts. That can be blue. Yeah, I don't think I'm too worried about the bottom. And I might just leave some of the, maybe just pick out some panels, maybe some parts with. So I think I'm going to go with a light gray, and then I will pick out some panels on the dark blue and some panels on the gray with a really light blue. There's something stuck on here. Yep. I think I'm going to turn the autofocus off. I'll leave it for a little while longer. Is that what I want to do? I have a mid-level gray somewhere. I think I'm going to pick out some panels probably with this blue, just so that's like super different. Or that one. It's not much difference between the two. Gray, where are you, gray? Not shadow gray. I want not gunmetal. Not silver. Well, I have pale gray blue. I could use that to pick out some panels, maybe. I don't know. We'll see what it looks like. This isn't the gray I was thinking of. Oh, I keep grabbing the same stuff. London gray, is that too dark? Next to that blue. Yeah, let's go with this one, a little bit lighter. It's not going to end up being as dark looking as the reference photo, but it's okay. It's going to look like a lot of gray ending up on there, but I'm going to color in some of the panels later with the blues. And actually it looks more like this kind of blue. All right. So now we're just going to slop a bunch of color on here. You know what I could do? It's all a guess, Brian. It's all a guess. Which really means, and there really is no wrong color. any color is better than gray minis. Especially gray enemies. Gray enemies get 5 more hit points. Unpainted enemies. I almost gave Kanji a heart attack when he was playing Stars of Akarios. Joking around with him in his chat. Told him that guy wasn't one of the guys he thought was dead, wasn't dead yet. Because he had 5 more hit points from not being painted. But he didn't see the not being painted part. He started going back over the damage and the turn and stuff without reading my second message. Then he came back and he was like, "Oh man, you almost gave me a heart attack." I'm trying to get these minis done like super quick. Yeah. And I think it was the next stream that he did, he was facing the Titan, the real big thing, and it wasn't, I don't think it was painted yet. And then I was like, "Oh man, Kanji, you don't even want to know what bosses get if they're not painted." And he was like, "Stop it, stop it." Anyways, what I was saying is I'm trying to get these done really quick. So I'm like debating on if I wanted to spend a ton of time on them, you know, I would put a wash over this, like so some of these other lines and stuff would show up. But I'm planning on like picking not most, but some of the panels out with the blue color. So I don't even know if I want to take the time to do that. I just want to get these minis done. Just so I can say that this game is done, even when if I unlock more, or when I unlock one of these ships, it's just ready to go. Do I have something that can cover? Yes, I have this brush here. I'm going to cover a lot of ground quick on these parts that are not next to other stuff, especially here on the bottom. I have this one, 3 more after this one. No, 4 more after this one. And there's also 1, 2, 3, 4 more characters, unlockable characters that I haven't painted. Now I gotta switch back because now it's tighter in smaller spots. You can see a spot that needs blue. Needs the dark blue that I missed. There's something that's different about painting these like these ships. You know, most of the time I'm painting like organic things, like living things. That's supposed to be blue. And there's just something different about doing these things. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. Now the tip of that red got touched with blue, and if I don't get that now, I will forget. In the Stars of Akarios box, yeah, there's a lot. If you didn't get the extra starting ship, the Charis or whatever, then there's 9 ships. If you did get the Charis, there's 10 ships and 8 characters. 4 of the characters to start the game with, and 4, I guess, that are unlockable characters. So I'm going to finish doing the light gray before I go back and start touching up, because I can see a couple of other places where I'm getting a little overzealous with the gray. This side over here. I'm not even sure how many hours there are in the story. I mean, obviously, because I'm 1 scenario into Act 1. Finished the prologue. That was 5 episodes. I think the prologue was 5 episodes. But more scenarios than that. And it's kind of weird, and not weird, but the way that they label things in their game. Some things, like in other games, that would be like a storybook entry are called a scenario. So it might say like, hey, go do scenario 6, and then when scenario 6 is like just some story to read and a choice to make, and then you go somewhere else after that. It's not like a space combat or a world exploration or anything. Okay. Now I have to answer the question of, do I want to put a wash or a contrast color over this, or speed paint? I should look to, are there any other parts of the blue I need to touch up? Yes, kind of along that back thing right there. Some gray got up on this. All right, there we go. I think I'm going to try just putting blue on it without washing it and see if, like, you know, picking out the panels on there gives it enough little extra definition. There's not really any panels on this back part, so that might look a little boring. But so far the only goal was just to like block in some colors. Are you going to focus for me? So we just got some colors blocked in. And the red looks pretty nice. It's dry brushed. It's hard to tell on that view, but in person I can see a lot of different definition in the red. So that's definitely adding some character. Okay. Is this the right blue? Or do I want to go super bright? What other choices do we have? That's dark. Those two are almost the same. That's a contrast color. I think that's about it. I like this teal, but I've used this teal, like this is what I used on Violet Ray's skin, I think. I'm gonna do this one and see if it's bright enough. I might want that just to be super bright, but we'll see. We'll do one panel with this blue. Oh man. My incisions are still like in the healing process, and today has been a rough one with them. Where'd you go? So I need to go to a small brush. Now I'm gonna have to get my face probably pretty close to these. So let's do these little panels on the side. Does that stick out enough? Let's try the other color next to it. It's not super bright in the art. Oh man, as that gray is drying, I can see parts that are gonna need a second coat anyway. I think I like the brighter blue. So I'm just going to cover that other one up with the base coat. And then I need to get some more gray on parts of this. About the bottom. It's fine, as Duncan Rhodes would say anyways, 2 thin coats. Should be doing 2 thin coats. Duncan Rhodes was a painter at Games Workshop for a long time, and he did a lot of their tutorials that were on their community site. Really good painter. Has since left Games Workshop and has launched his own thing called Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy, and he's also doing his own paint line. Hey Matthew, doing some more stream testing. in painting. Trying to pick out a accent blue, and I think I'm gonna go with that light blue that's on that dark blue spot. I gotta take a drink of my water. Don't be distracted by the fact that it's Coca-Cola. It's Coke Zero. While that gray dries, I see another spot where the dark blue needs to go. All right. Let's pick out some panels with the light blue. Some panels or some other parts. There's like a part right here. Giving it some stripes. And then I'll probably come back with the dark blue and like make the edges look more crisp. I actually have some other plans, Matthew, for some snack videos. I was going to do tea sandwiches next. If you know what tea sandwiches are, they're like little sandwiches. Like the most famous one is probably like a cucumber sandwich. But there's some like chicken salad recipes that are good in those little tiny sandwiches. And a dessert one. I have a dessert one in mind for panna cotta, which is easier to make than people might think. These little handheld things that are inside of tortillas, like little tiny quesadilla things, but they're filled with lots of different, you can fill them with lots of different things. Like it doesn't have to be quesadilla, it could be even like ham and cheese, or lots of things. You could do like barbecue pork. They end up being like these little handheld triangle things. What else? I have a list that I'm keeping. It's just been a rough year. This is Akarios. Is that you, Steve? How you doing, Steve? Do you, Matthew, do you have game nights? And if you do, is there anything that you serve? Oh, that's another one. That was another one. Different kinds of dips for chips. And I don't mean just like buying a French onion packet and mixing it with sour cream. Thanks, Steve. I'm still trying to dial stuff in. And I'm waiting on a visit from my internet service provider tomorrow because there are definite issues with the line outside of my house. Yeah, spinach dip. Yeah, there's lots of good like artichoke and Parmesan dips, warm or cold. My mom actually makes this thing that's like a taco dip where it's like sour cream, but the sour cream is flavored with like taco seasoning. And then you layer on like shredded cheese and tomatoes and shredded lettuce on top of it, and then you use chips to dip into it. It's really good. It doesn't have any meat in it. Usually just get a meat, cheese, and cracker tray from the grocery store, but that gets old really quick, so any new ideas will totally help out. Did you watch the charcuterie episode? Episode 2 of 2? Some things to, just buy like a can of almonds and some pickles or something to go with your meat, cheese, and cracker tray. Some grapes. And there you go, you've spiced it up. Yeah, you're branching out. So I don't know if I have it in here. And I don't know how I could show it. I'm gonna go grab something and show you since we're talking about it. My wife actually drew something for me to use on the thumbnail for those videos. Sorry for any loud things that mini cheeses wrapped in crescent roll dough. So it's funny that you say that because I tried out some recipes of different things wrapped in crescent rolls. You can do all kinds of things inside of a crescent, wrapping it in there. Like if you use meat, like a roast beef and the right kind of cheese and maybe some grilled peppers, you can make like a Philly cheesesteak little croissant thing. There's always pigs in a blanket where you wrap little smokies inside the crescent roll dough. Pepperoni, cheese, and a little bit of pizza sauce inside there makes little pizza bites. So that was another idea for an episode. There's my chef meeple. All right. What else do I want to pick out here? The way I did the other Akarios ships was I kind of tried to finish one side of the panels and things I wanted to pick out. and then just copied that on the other side. There's another little panel up here. Okay, we got to get something over here. I feel like I want to do this little thing here. Steve, if you're still watching, I might message you about some OBS settings and stream stuff. Three little tiny dots right there. Let's just do all these panels here that are separated. For these ships especially, I like to make sure they look good from above, because when I'm playing the game on camera, I mean, that's how it's going to be seen, right? So against that gray, the light blue's not showing up as much. As it does against the dark blue. I mean, which makes sense. I could always add another blue shade. Let me flip to the other side. I'll probably be doing some marathon painting when Oathsworn gets here. Any of you guys playing Oathsworn? Or waiting on Oathsworn? Well, it looks like you'll have a chance when they do the second printing Kickstarter. With as much buzz as that game is getting, I'm very interested to see how well the second Kickstarter does. I do wonder what the future of crowdfunding is, though, with what's going on with prices and stuff. I'll tell you another game that I'm really looking forward to getting, and I don't know how many people's radar it's on. But that's Earthborn Rangers. It's a card game by Andrew Fisher, Andrew Navarro. Did the Sadler? I think the Sadler brothers may have consulted on the initial design as well. If you don't know, Andrew Navarro was head of studio at Fantasy Flight Games for a long time. Andrew Fisher worked on a lot of their LCGs and a lot of their games. What made me just think of it right now, because what I was thinking about when I said I don't know about the future of crowdfunding and the cost is because of the shipping. And one of the things that they're trying to do for that game is print everything locally. So all the games that will go to their European backers are going to be printed in a European factory. I think he's still trying to find somebody to do the US fulfillment or manufacturing, and if he can't find somebody, he's going to have to print it in Europe. But they're really trying to save, and it's not even really a cost thing. It's a earth conscious thing. Like trying to save on the, I guess, ship fuel to get it over here, or to get it around the world from one place. But it looks like a cool game. I actually played the TTS demo on my channel, and I think they're getting closer to having another TTS demo out soon. But it's a fun card game. And no minis to paint for that one. The gray needs some darker blue on it, I think. Maybe the dark blue needs like a little bit of a highlight or something on it. Let's get a mixing brush. Really water it down. See what it looks like if I put a little bit of a, it'll even show up. It needs more than that. After earlier I said I was just trying to paint these fast, but I can tell it just needs something. I'm not like super happy with the gray part actually. But we'll put a little blue highlight on here first. I don't even know how I'm going to highlight that gray or darken the gray. And I don't even know if you guys can, it's not coming through on the camera, but I'm highlighting up the blue a little bit. And then I'll try to figure out what I want to do with the gray. This blue dries down a lot, actually. Yeah, there's light blue on the blue, and there's light blue on the gray. What can I do to the gray? I don't know if I can get this to be able to, so you can see, because the lighting, when I try to do this, is not that great. I could do, oh, I know, wait, there's maybe this will add a highlight to the gray. Especially if I water it down. Might not have to. I'll try it first, see how it dries. Especially like this big flat panel part right here. Now let's see how that dries down. If it's going to dry down. It's starting to get a little transparent and blotchy. So no, that's not the right one. I'll say, try to blend it a little. I did way more dark blue on that side than that side. So I think I'm going to paint that panel right there light blue. Yeah. Got to make the dark blues match. It's a little bit of a difference in the sculpting. More definition on one part on this side than the other side. So now is where I'm regretting that I did not put a wash on the dark gray. Which I may do anyway. Not the dark gray, the light gray. Which I may do and then just go back over the light blue parts. I think it's going to look a lot better. So some of this light blue is going to get covered up. This just might be too, you know, let's do a Akarios white maybe. Because that will get gray into the recesses. Camel Cloak, no, that's green. Space Wolves gray. Griff Charger is dark. So here's a trick. I don't know how much of a trick it is, but it can help try to figure. Wow, that's pretty separated. Look at that. Holy cow. There's like 4 different layers in there. It'll take half an hour to shake that up. We'll take a fresh paper towel. So this is Space Wolves Gray. Rift Charger Gray. It's not a whole lot of difference there. Let's try this Runic Gray Speed Paint. This one's like a little more green, maybe? Green's probably not the right word. Color, whatever. So the Runic Gray is definitely lighter. It's getting slightly darker as it dries, but it's not as dark as this or this. So I'm going to try this. And I should have done this to begin with. It's trying to go fast. I don't know if that's going to be enough. We'll see. I just want this to get into these recesses. Show off some of these details. And like I said, I'm gonna have to go back over the light blue parts. Probably. Unless this ends up looking okay. Even over the light blue panels. Now I really see some popping on these details on the bottom probably. I didn't get nearly enough paint out. Which can be an issue when you're dealing with these kind of things because you want to kind of be watching where it's pooling. You need to be paying attention, moving it around before it starts to dry so you don't get a whole lot of coffee staining and stuff. Speed paint has a tendency as it dries to smooth out even. It might not be that too bad over the light blue, actually. because it's adding a little bit of depth and texture. But I would probably highlight it a little bit. Yeah, especially because I need to see if I can, before it dries, and just pull it off so it doesn't stain. Oh, it's too slow. Yeah, I'm gonna let it dry instead of pushing around a bunch of the speed paint that's starting to get hard. Then that's going to leave definition in those lines on the gray. I think that looks better. And it'll look a lot better when it's dried, it's finished moving itself around, and I can highlight up that light blue a little bit again. And you can really see the compartments on the bottom again. Yeah, I really like it too, Matthew. And you can really see how. See, this was speed paint even over not white. It was not over white. It was over a light gray, still a light gray. But there's lots of different things that can happen depending upon what colors you're putting the speed paint and contrast paint over, because they are a transparent paint, both of the brands. I mean, even just that right there, you can see the outline a little bit better. Even though my camera wants to do some weird focusing stuff. Let me see if this light has been too bright. Does it add anything else? Nope. While that dries, I might actually, I mean, I did the dry brushing. Nah, it looks fine. It looks fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. Okay, so that has to dry before I can do anything else with that light blue, and that's probably where I'm just going to call this one done. I have to see how it looks after that light blue gets put on there. But like I said, I'm not spending, I really don't want to spend a whole lot of time on each of these individual ships. I mean, this kind of gives you an idea of what it's going to look like on camera and on the table, except that the light blue is going to be highlighted up brighter because it's got some wash sitting on top of it right now. But when this guy gets into the game, that's what it will look like against a black space matte. I don't know if it's going to be and when I'm going to do it. Matthew, what I was saying is once my Oathsworn gets here, I'm going to try to paint as much of it as I can, maybe over a weekend, and I'll try to stream as much of it as I can, taking breaks to eat and stuff. So I'll schedule that probably, but I'm still waiting for my Oathsworn to show up also. This is actually starting to dry on some of the flat parts, especially up here. And it dried okay. It didn't dry as like coffee stainy as contrast can. Or blotchy as contrast paints can. I don't know if I can get this thing to focus. Trying to find setups that are good for filming games where we have lots of lights over the whole board versus having the right kind of lighting for painting. It's kind of a little bit of a challenge without moving everything around all the time. And, you know, like having a day job. I guess I could do something about that. But then I wouldn't have money for board games. Yeah, Brian. Kanjay and I have not been lucky lately with the delivery or non-delivery of Kickstarters. I don't. It must have been that strongly worded email that I sent to the creator. I'm just kidding. I didn't do that. Actually, I mean, at this point, I know people like always say that how come the publisher's not sending it out fast enough? I don't think the publisher has any control over it. It's up to the fulfillment company to get it done. Okay, since I gotta wait for this to dry, and actually my incisions are kind of bothering me a little bit right now. I think from the leaning against the table, I'm probably gonna call that for tonight. It looks like it was a good stream as far as stream health goes, but I'm probably going again to chalk that up to the time of day. Hopefully not though. So, and maybe some of the settings I've dialed in are good. So it looks like progress is being made on that front. Thanks to everybody who came. Yes, good night, Matthew. I have just been doing these things impromptu, like when I have a chance to test, just been firing them up. But once things get more stable, I'll be scheduling these things. This is the same area where I play games also. So I have to kind of switch things out if I'm going to play something versus painting something. So I'll schedule some stuff when things get a little more static and regular. And if there was any tip for tonight with the contrast paints or speed paints, find something to just spread a little bit on. Paper towel works good. Another tip, I actually put it in Mel's stream earlier that I saw a guy do, which I might actually do, is for the speed paints, he primed the tops of the speed paints white and then painted the top with the speed paint. So you could see what it would look like on the model if you're using white primer. I was like, oh man, that's genius. So he's just like looking at the top of the paint and being like, oh, that's what it's going to look like when it goes over white primer. I might actually end up doing that. You can't do something similar with contrast unless you transfer it to dropper bottles, which some people have actually done. Okay, so I actually am really going to call it now. Like I say on most of my outros, I hope you enjoyed this stream, and I hope you enjoy everything I put up on my channel, and I'll see you in the next one.